Calling all authors, the Your Book, Your Voice podcast with host Robert A. Lane features everything you need to know about narrating your audiobook, but it doesn't stop there. We have special guests lined up from all aspects of the book publishing industry, and we also dive deep into what it takes to be mentally prepared for success as an author and in life. So please welcome your host, Robert A. Lane.
And welcome, my friends, to another edition of the Your Book, Your Voice podcast. Thank you so much for joining. I am Robert A. Lane, your host, and we are streaming live on the Bold Brave TV network. Quick introduction, if this is your first time tuning in, I am an audiobook coach and producer, and I focus on helping nonfiction authors who have a great published book turn that awesome book into an audiobook that they narrate themselves, because I'm a firm believer that every nonfiction author needs to narrate their own audiobook, because you're the person who wrote the book. You are the one who lived it and breathed it and experienced it, and you know it like the back of your hand. So you really are the most qualified person to narrate your audiobook. Yes, you are. And you can. You do have the talent, you do have the ability, and you just need to build the confidence. If you don't like your voice, well, that's a false belief, because you have a great voice. You just have to believe in yourself and believe in your voice. All right. So I have an audiobook coaching program, which is called Your Book, Your Voice. And I help nonfiction authors through the process of recording their own audiobook, providing them with the professional equipment that they need to set up their own recording space, and then teaching the fine art of voiceover, both the mechanical and physical and emotional aspects of doing a great, compelling audiobook narration. And at the end of the 6-week course, you will have your audiobook recorded in your own voice. I do all the editing for you, make sure that your audio files sound nice and clean and that they meet the exact specifications for publication on Audible, Amazon, and Apple Books. Those are the 3 distribution platforms you absolutely have to be on, because those are the go-to for pretty much the general public. They always go to Audible or Apple or Amazon. So I call it the AAA, right? Audible, Amazon, Apple Books. You got to be on those distribution platforms. So that's what I do as an audiobook coach and producer. If you are interested in finding out more, the only action step that you would need to take is just to book a call with me. We talk about your book, find out what your marketing goals are, what you want to do with your audiobook, and I give you more information about the program itself, and then we get you enrolled. So if you'd like to schedule a call, we're going to put a graphic up on the screen for you to check out. For those of you who are seeing the video portion of the live stream, just go ahead and book your audiobook consultation call. And for those of you who are just listening to the broadcast, then I will tell you the link, which is this: bit.ly, which is bit.ly/audiobook onboarding. Okay, so that's bit.ly, bit.ly/audiobook onboarding. That's what you need to do to book a call. Take a shot of or screen grab if you're seeing the video portion of it, and has the link on there. And you can always go to robertlanecoaching.com because I have plenty of opportunity for you to book your call on the website as well. All right. The other thing that I want to do is give you a freebie. Okay. I want to give you my audiobook narration reference guide, and that's a great tool for you that has a lot of information in regards to how to do a great narration. Grab it, check it out. It's yours for free. Download it. I have it there for you for that purpose as a little gift of thanking you for joining me here on the podcast. All right. And again, the link for that is bit.ly, bit.ly/narration reference guide. Okay. And again, you can go to the website and grab it there as well. All right. All right. So today's topic, right? Today's topic is break the cycle with a quadricycle. A what? A quadricycle. That's what I call it. And This is really a great tool to help you as an author. How many times have you hit writer's block? Or when you're recording your audiobook, sometimes you're just not feeling motivated. Why is that? And even when you have specific times that you've dedicated to sitting down and writing your book, or getting into your recording studio or your little recording space and saying, okay, I'm going to do a chapter today. Then you go in and you're just like, man, I am just not feeling it. Why is that? Getting down to the root causes of finding out what's stopping you, what's creating that block, is really important to figure out so that you can make changes to remove the block so that you can move forward with your profession as an author. Yes, you are a professional author. This is your brand. Your book is your product. Your audiobook is your product, and you want to have the best product out there. So let's get rid of this cycle of just not feeling motivated and having these blockages. We want to remove the blocks, right? So what are some of the causes? Maybe it's worry. Maybe you're worrying about things that are on your mind that have nothing to do with your book, right? Maybe there's things going on in your life that are just causing a lot of stress. That can, of course, cause writer's block. That obviously can cause you to not feel motivated to do your audiobook, okay? Imposter syndrome, of course. We all feel this, especially as a creative. You are an artist. As a writer, you're an artist. You can feel like you're not good enough. And that is a false belief that you need to crush. You are good enough, especially if you have a nonfiction book that's already published. There it is. You are a professional. You're great at what you do. You have a book that's out there. Even if you are in the process of writing a book, you are still a professional. Don't consider yourself a hobbyist. Consider yourself a professional, because you are an author brand. And this is why I'm a big advocate of having authors narrate their own audiobook, because this is your brand. Your unique style, your unique voice is already in your written word. And this is why you should be the one to narrate your own audiobook. So there is a cycle that happens, okay? And it can become a vicious cycle. So you have choices that you can make, and you need to figure out what it is that's stopping you from moving forward with your writing, with your audiobook narration, with your business, or just in life in general, okay? So I want to share with you a little story. And this is back when I was working in the entertainment business. One of the jobs that I had, I was an audio engineer working for Playboy Radio. Yes, Playboy Radio. There is a radio station for Playboy. Of course, I was let go the day before Thanksgiving. It was horrible timing, right? So that was a horrible event. But what that did was that it opened doors, okay? So that could have caused a cycle, right? A vicious cycle of like being, bummed out about losing this job. And it was a big deal at the time because I had a house, I had a mortgage, I had, to make payments, and I had to make a very tough decision. And that is, do I keep struggling to try to keep my house, or do I make a major change, sell the house, get an apartment, and just get myself regrouped, refocused, and figure out what my next step is for my career? And so I ended up selling my house and moving into an apartment. And but from that, I decided that I really wanted to develop my skills as an audio engineer. I went to, at this time I was in Los Angeles, so I went to a Los Angeles recording school, went through their program. I wanted to learn Pro Tools because Pro Tools is the industry standard that all studios use for audio editing, and I wanted to learn that. So when I went to that program, they had a job placement, and I actually was able to find two jobs. One was just an unpaid internship, and another one was doing live sound for a church on Sundays. Didn't pay much, but it paid something. So I did the internship, which actually ended up being really good because I learned Pro Tools, and that's what my goal was. And I learned about audio post-production and did a lot of editing and really honed in my skills. So with that, I ended up getting a third job, and this was a paying job, and it was to be a runner at a post-production facility in Hollywood. And being a runner basically is you're the grunt guy, right? You do all the grunt work. You wash dishes, you make coffee for clients, you uh, clean the glass in the all the editing bays. You're doing all the grunt work. But you know what? You got to suck it up, because if you want to be in the business and you're determined to be in the business, especially in the entertainment business, you have to do the work and you have to pay your dues. Now, I had a great job before I was doing any of this, doing marketing and sales. I was a national director of marketing for a company, did all this stuff, and now here I was making coffee and cleaning windows and washing dishes and doing these things that seem very menial. But again, you got to, swallow your pride, put your ego in check and just say, you know what? There's something that I want to do, and I'm going to do it, and I'm going to do whatever it takes for me to do what I need to do to reach the goals that I'm setting for myself. Same thing that you're doing as an author. Okay, this is make the analogy on the comparison. Okay, but the point is that led to the vice president of the company coming down and talking with me, and then he offered me a position that was on the corporate side, and I decided to take that job. And that actually led to a random phone call that I received one day from somebody who was at 20th Century Fox, one of the major movie studios in Los Angeles. And they called me and they asked me if I wanted to work for them. And so I did. And that, again, those steps led to a career at Fox Studios for almost 14 years before I finally left the business. Now, the process of going from having a great job, the Playboy job was a very well-paying job, to losing that and then just to rebuild your life, basically, things led to another. One thing led to another, then led to another, then led to another. So, great things happen. Now, that was a good cycle. And that's a cycle that I did not want to break, and I'm very grateful for. Okay. And because of that, I do what I do now as an audiobook coach and producer, not only helping you as an author narrate your own audiobook, with all that editing and post-production work that I did, having 20 plus years of doing that, as well as working in the corporate world, I bring that to the table to help you create an awesome audiobook. So it all came into play. It all came into play, and it was a great thing. What happens, though, for a lot of people is that you get into a negative cycle, which is a bad cycle, right? If it's worry, imposter syndrome, pressure, maybe you have deadlines that you're trying to do when you're writing your book or when you're doing your audiobook narration, and that can cause blocks. And if something happens, sometimes people get really frustrated, especially when they're writing, and they're like, I'm just going to give up, or they keep putting it off and putting it off. So then procrastination kicks in. And that's not a good cycle to be in either, because that's a vicious cycle that just keeps repeating itself. All right. So that's why I wanted to bring that up. And I wanted to also share with you some interesting stats about how the mind works and what happens and what causes these blockages from allowing you to do what you want to do as a writer, as an author. Okay. Actually, we're going to take a quick break because I don't want to break this up. I do want to give you all the information in one segment. So we're going to take a quick break. This is the Your Book, Your Voice podcast. Our topic today is break the cycle with a quadricycle. And I'm going to tell you what that quadricycle is as well. So don't go away. Lots of great information coming your way. And just remember, you are an author. That is your brand. You're a professional. Believe in your ability as a creative person. 100%. This is the Your Book, Your Voice podcast. I'm Robert A. Lane with Robert Lane Coaching. We are streaming live on the Bold Brave TV network, and we'll be right back.
What if there were a super tiny device that could diagnose the brain and is smaller than a single human hair? What if you could see inside the brain to help an epilepsy patient during surgery or to help the fight against Parkinson's disease? Dr. Patricia Broderick is proud to announce the Broderick Probe, a biomedical and electronic breakthrough. Imagine a probe to help with the understanding and potential cure of brain-related diseases. To learn more, listen live to the Easy Sense radio show with host Dr. Broderick, Wednesdays 7 p.m. Eastern on the Bold Brave Media Network and TuneIn Radio. And to help support the Broderick Foundation, please go to EasySense.com and learn how, with your help, we can fight these horrific brain disorders. That's EasySense.com to learn more and help support the Broderick Foundation. Author, radio show host, and coach John M. Hawkins reveals strategies to help gain perspective, build confidence, find clarity, achieve goals. John M. Hawkins' new book, Coached to Greatness, Unlock Your Full Potential with Limitless Growth, published by iUniverse. Hawkins reveals strategies to help readers accomplish more. He believes the book can coach them to greatness. Hawkins says that the best athletes get to the top of their sport with the help of coaches, mentors, and others. He shares guidance that helps readers reflect on what motivates them. We discover and assess their core values, philosophies, and competencies, find settings that allow them to be the most productive, and track their progress towards accomplishing goals. Listen to John Hawkins' My Strategy, Saturdays, 1 p.m. Eastern on the BBM Global Network and TuneIn Radio.
All right. Welcome back to Your Book, Your Voice. Glad you're here. I'm Robert A. Lane, your host, and we are streaming live on the Bold Brave TV network. The topic for today's podcast is Break the Cycle with a Quadricycle. And I'm going to be diving into that in just a second, but I did want to share with you some stats that I find very interesting that I think you'll find interesting too, and that has to do with our thought processes. You know, our brain, which is this awesome supercomputer, we process I would say about 60,000 thoughts per day. And a lot of it, obviously, we're not conscious of. But there is a lot going on in that computer, right? In that computer in your brain. It is working. There's a lot of things going on. But here's the interesting part. About 85% of these thoughts that are working in your brain are negative, okay? And that's not such a great stat, but it's a true stat, all right? So something to be aware of. Now, out of that percentage, okay, so let's just talk about the negative thoughts. Out of those negative thoughts, there's about 85% of those are things that you continually worry about, all right? That are just recurring thoughts. And that's, again, getting back to a cycle, right? Now, this vicious cycle, recurring thoughts. And you know what's interesting about that is that 9 out of 10 times, the things that you're worried about, they never come to pass. You're worrying about things that have not come to pass. And 85% of the time, they don't. Now, there is that 15%. 15%, maybe something does occur. And there's two things that happen with that. One is it ends up not being as bad or horrific that you thought it was going to be. You know, or the other thing is that it really does teach you a great lesson, which is something that is important in the process of building your author business, right? When you take calculated risks to do something, whether it's marketing or advertising or, you know, who knows whatever things that you're doing to move your business forward, sometimes you have to take calculated risks. And when you take those risks, you know, maybe it's a bad decision, but you don't know it's a bad decision until you actually take that risk. Maybe it's something that you try and it didn't work out the way you wanted to, or you feel like, it failed. Well, again, learn the lesson. What is it that you learned from that experience? Now you know what things that you can do and what things that you shouldn't do the next time you decide to do something similar. Okay. So again, your brain is always working. There's all these thoughts that happen. Uh, that's why I talk about, and I talk about this in my audiobook coaching program as well, is about creating affirmations and positivity and replacing a lot of the negative thoughts that you're conscious of, and let's push them out of the way and put in some positivity, like I am a great author. I wrote a great nonfiction book. I love my book. I tell a great story. I'm working on my next book. I have an awesome voice. I am a great audiobook narrator. I can narrate my own book. I love my voice. I embrace my voice, right? All these positive things that you're telling, that's what you want to feed your subconscious. So that 60,000 thoughts per day now are going to be more on the positive side than the negative side. So instead of 85% of things that never come to pass, or that are negative thoughts, now you're lessening that percentage and you're building the percentage of positivity. And that will help you in regards to your writer's block, and especially when you're not feeling motivated to narrate your audiobook. And I get it, we have off days, it happens. And sometimes you do need a break. Sometimes you're just physically and mentally tired, and that's okay. And you have to tell yourself that that is okay. It's okay to take a break. It's okay. All right. And then just get back to it. Get refreshed, regrounded, refocused, and then you're good to go. All right. Now, so let's talk about the quadricycle and why I call it the quadricycle. And this is like a cycle of outcomes. Okay. So there's 4 parts to this, hence the quadricycle. Okay. So let's dive into this. All right. The first part is an event, and I'm going to break it down super simple. Okay. An event happens, right? And I'll use this as an example. I broke my toe. All right. I was in Hawaii. I broke my toe. And that was the event that happens. Now, when an event happens, this is the first part of the quadricycle, which is the event. When the event happens, it's neither positive nor negative. It isn't. It is just an event. It is stating a matter of fact. I broke my toe. That's all it is, okay? That's part 1 of the quadricycle, all right? What that leads to is the second part. The second part is the story. What is the story that you tell yourself because of that event? Now, I'm using this as an analogy. Of course, you as an author, you can compare that to you and your author business. Something happens, right? Maybe you are planning this launch of your new book, and the cover designer screwed up and messed up your cover. All right, that can be an event. Okay, but I'm just using the broken toe thing because it's just really simple and easy to explain. But again, take the analogy and apply it to your particular circumstance. All right. So first part, of course, is an event. It's neither positive nor negative. It's just an event. Okay. The second part is the story. What is the story that you tell yourself as a result of that event? Okay. Now the story is still neither positive nor negative. And you can tell your story, which is what you believe, right? You've now created a belief with this story. So, okay, I broke my toe. So the story I can tell myself is, great, I had a race coming up in 2 weeks. Now I'm not going to be able to run that race. It's going to screw me up for the rest of the year. I'm probably not even going to do any running this year. That's the story that I tell myself, okay? So that's 2 parts of the quadricycle. First part is the event, broke my toe. Second part is the story. I'm missing my race. I'm not going to run at all this year. Toe's going to take forever to heal. Okay. Again, comparing it to you as an author, right? What's the story? Cover designer screwed up my cover, and that's going to interfere with my launch date. All right. The story I tell myself is, great. I'm not going to be able to launch my book on time. And that's just going to mess everything up that I've planned for the rest of the year. Okay, maybe that's the story that you tell yourself as an author. Or, maybe you're narrating your audiobook and your computer crashes, all right? Or maybe something happens and you're almost done narrating your audiobook, and you find out that the folder that you've put all your audio in because you didn't back it up, that folder is corrupted, and now you have to start from scratch and redo your entire audiobook again. Now that's one heck of an event, right? So the story you're going to tell yourself is, great, I'm not going to be able to get my audiobook out. Might as well forget doing it. Maybe that's the story you tell yourself, okay? All right, so that leads to the third part of the quadricycle, right? So you have your event, something has happened. You have the story that you tell yourself, which is the belief that you've etched in your brain. And the third part now, this is where it's not neutral. This is when you have the feeling, okay? So you have the event, the story, and now the feeling. These are the feels, right? How does that make you feel? I'll use my broken toe example first, and that is, of course, I broke my toe. I'm not going to be able to do any races this year. What does it do? What's the feeling? Pisses me off. I love, this is something I was looking forward to. I love running. I love doing my trail runs. Now my foot's messed up. So maybe the feeling is that you're angry, you're frustrated, you feel defeated. Defeat. Okay, bad joke. You feel defeated. Broken toe. There could be a whole bunch of feelings that come up. Discouraged. Maybe you feel like giving up. Maybe those are the feelings that happen. All right. Well, that, is an issue. Now compare that to the other example of, you're an author, you have a launch planned, you got your cover design, and it's all screwed up. All right. So how does that make you feel? Angry, frustrated. Maybe you're freaking out. Same thing with the audiobook, right? You've recorded your audiobook, you were just about done. You find out that the folder that you put everything in is corrupt, and now you got to start again. How does that make you feel? Pretty frustrating. And, I'd be very angry and pissed off and just frustrated. But, that's what happens, right? So you have an event. That's part one of the quadricycle. You have the story that you tell yourself, the belief that you etch in your brain, which then causes the feelings that you feel that are related to the story that you told, that are now related to the original event. Okay, you see how that's tied together? That's your cycle of outcomes. That's your quadricycle. Okay, so there's one more part to the quadricycle, and that part is action. What is the action step that you took in relation to how you feel, to the story you told yourself, to the original event? What is the action step that you took? Okay, and maybe it's an action step, or maybe your step was not taking action, right? Inaction. Maybe that was your decision. Okay, so what does that do? That may create a vicious cycle. Let's say, again, using the example of the broken toe, not going to run, pisses me off. I'm angry about it. Now my decision is, screw it. I'm not going to do any more running. And then now we go back to a new event, right? So there's your 4 parts. Okay. Now we're at a new event. And the new event is, there's this awesome race coming up later this year that I want to do. So what do? Forget it. I'm not going to do it. Creates the vicious cycle, because then now you tell yourself another story, which is, again, another negative story, and that can create a vicious cycle. So you want to break the cycle, and you can break it with the quadricycle. Thinking about those other 2 examples, right? Your cover design was screwed up, right? That was the event. It has pushed your launch date. You told it the story of, man, this is just screwing me up. I might as well not even launch my book. I'll have to wait again, or whatever you tell yourself. And which creates all those feelings of anger and frustration. So what do? What's your action step? Do you just not launch? Do you push your launch? What do you do? Okay. Same thing with the audiobook. If you almost finished recording your audiobook and now your file is corrupted and you got to start from scratch and you're angry and pissed off and just frustrated, what's your action step? Action step could be, forget it. And that's an inaction. That's not doing anything. It's just giving up, okay? Or your action step is, okay, well, I guess I better start working on it again because it's going to be a process, you know, or maybe you just don't do anything. Again, action or inaction. What is it that you do? So that is the quadricycle, which is a cycle of outcomes. So remember these 4 parts, okay? There's the event that happens. The event is neither positive nor negative. It's just an event, right? It may seem like a negative event, or maybe a positive event, depending on what the event is. But it still is neutral. As itself, it is just a neutral event, okay? Part 2 of the quadricycle is the story that you tell yourself in regards to that event, all right? Positive or negative? Not really, because it's still neutral. It's neutral because you're not hitting the 3rd part of the quadricycle, which that's next, right? You have your event, your story, and now the feelings. So this is where all the feels come in, and that where it does become positive or negative. And because of those feelings, what does it do in regards to the action, part 4, the action step that you take because of that feeling, all right? So that is the quadricycle. It is a 4-step process of a cycle that happens, okay? The event, the story, the feeling, and the action, okay? Now, we're going to take a quick break, and I'm going to tell you how you can use the quadricycle to break the cycle, to break a negative cycle and turn it into a positive cycle. There is a way to do that, all right? And I'll use our examples as we dive into that. But I'm telling you, you can break the cycle and you can use this cycle of outcomes, or as I call it, the quadricycle, to reach your goals, to still reach your goals, all right? This is the Your Book, Your Voice podcast. I'm Robert A. Lane with Robert Lane Coaching. I appreciate you hanging out. We're streaming live on the Bold Brave TV network, and we're going to take, after this break, I will tell you how you can utilize that quadricycle for the positive. We'll be right back.
Did you know that your beliefs create your entire reality? But it's the subconscious beliefs that do most of the creating. Belief shifter and life coach Shiraz can help you identify those limiting beliefs and eliminate them, often in a single session.
Like it was almost instant, like I had relief right away.
Creating better health, relationships, careers, and finances. Let Shiraz help you step out of safety and into awareness.
Definitely something's happening. It's like a flow inside. It feels good.
Whether in person or online, Shiraz provides personal coaching, belief shifting. Visit Shiraz at energeticmagic.com or call 416-529-7429. Energetic Magic on the BBM Global Network, Tuesdays at 7 p.m. Eastern. Find your greater happiness. Be well. Be aware. Be magical.
Are you struggling to care for elderly parents or a spouse? Do you wonder if being a caregiver is making you sick? Are you worried about taking time off work to care for elderly parents and balance work, life, and caregiving? Has caregiving become exhausting and emotionally draining? Are you an aging adult who wants to remain independent, but you're not sure how? I'm Pamela D. Wilson. Join me for the Caring Generation radio show for caregivers and aging adults, Wednesday evenings, 6 Pacific, 7 Mountain, 8 Central, and 9 Eastern, where I answer these questions and share tips for managing stress, family relationships, health, well-being, and more. Podcasts and transcripts of the Caring Generation are on my website, PamelaDWilson.com, plus my caregiving library, online caregiver support programs, and programs for corporations interested in supporting working caregivers. Help, hope, and support for caregivers is here on the Caring Generation and PamelaDWilson.com.
And welcome back to the Your Book, Your Voice podcast. I'm Robert A. Lane with Robert Lane Coaching. We are streaming live on the Bold Brave TV network. Appreciate you hanging out. Today's topic, of course, is break the cycle with a quadricycle. And we talked about what a quadricycle is, which is basically a cycle of outcomes that happen when, again, the 4 parts being an event that happens, which causes a story that you tell yourself, which then causes feelings that you feel, which then causes an action step that you take because of those feelings. Before we dive into how you can take that quadricycle and use it to your advantage and turn a negative into a positive, I do want to remind you that I have a freebie for you. It's my audiobook narration reference guide. So we've got a nice graphic up on the screen for those of you who can see the video portion of the podcast. Grab a copy. It's yours for free. There's some good pointers and tools and techniques to help you do a great audiobook narration, because again, every nonfiction author needs to narrate their own audiobook, and this will help you do a great narration. Again, the link is this, bit.ly/narration reference guide. Okay, so grab that. And again, you can also go to the website at robertlanecoaching.com to grab your copy there. There is a little button you can click on to grab it as well. And also, I am an audiobook coach and producer, and if you are a nonfiction author and you are considering turning your book into an audiobook, I'd love to talk with you. It's one simple action step you need to take, and that is just to book a call with me. You will talk to me directly, by the way, and I'll give you all the details about the Your Book, Your Voice audiobook coaching program, which is a 6-week program that you will record, narrate, and get published on Audible, Amazon, and Apple Books by the end of the 6 weeks. It's only 6 weeks. You are doing the narration, and you will sound fantastic. And it's great because it's not going to take you 6 months or a year or 3 months even. You're done in 6 weeks. It's an awesome thing. All right, so book your call. Again, that link is bit.ly link as well, bit.ly/audiobook onboarding. All right, that's the link you go to. And of course, you can always go to robertlanecoaching.com and grab the link there as well. Okay, so let's dive into how you can use the quadricycle to your advantage. All right, the quadricycle is a 4-part cycle of outcomes that happens. Again, there is an event used 3 examples, which I'll go over those again. We'll use the broken toe one, right? I broke my toe, right? That is the event. The story I told myself is great. I'm just not going to run any races at all this year. The feeling that made me feel is anger and frustration and just, defeat. And then, so my action step is, okay, you know what? I'm just going to let it heal and just not do anything for a year. Okay. Or again, as an author, you are ready for your book launch, you're under a deadline, you get your cover art back and it's all messed up, or you're doing your audiobook and you have all your audio files in a folder, and then you end up that the folder is corrupt and you have to start again. All right. Those are horrible events, and which create a story that you can either do positive or negative, right? But the event itself is neutral, and the story itself is neutral, but the feeling that it causes, and there's where the positive and negative aspect happens, and then it depends on what action steps that you take. Do you just put off your book launch? Do you put off your audiobook launch? Do you just not do it? What is your action step? Okay, so with these 4 parts of the quadricycle, there are 2 places. There are 2 places that you can change. You can make a change and turn this negative situation into a positive. Okay? All right, so again, going back to the broken toe, broke my toe. Now, 2 places. You want to guess what they are? You can comment in which part of the quadricycle do you think you can make a change? Is it the event? Is it the story? Is it the feeling? Is it the action? Well, I'll tell you, the first part that you can make a change is in the story that you tell yourself. Change your story, okay? So we'll use the broken toe example. I broke my toe. Yeah, that bums me out because I had a race coming up. But what is the story that I'm going to tell myself? The story that I'm going to tell myself is, you know what? I am not going to let this stop me from running. I'm going to figure out a way. I'm going to figure out a way to be able to race and to do, something that I enjoy doing. So what that does now is it changes my feeling. Of course, it is frustrating and I'm maybe a little bit pissed off about it, but that anger now turns into determination. And now, because I'm determined, that's the feeling that I have now, that changes the other part, right? You can change your story and you can change your action step. And so the action step now is I'm not going to sit on my butt for a year waiting for my toe to heal up and not do anything. I'm going to go to the doctor, have them look at my toe, let me know if I can run my race, and figure out a way to get this thing to heal up quickly so that I can do things that I love to do. All right. Taking your horrible cover art disaster event that happened as an author. Change your story, right? It's like, I'm going to get this fixed and I'm going to meet my launching deadline. Or, maybe the story can be, I'm just going to put off my launch date to a different time, or to whatever that you want to tell your story. But what that does is, again, creates the feelings of frustration because it happened, but determination, right? You're turning this anger into determination. So your action step is, I'm going to find another cover designer and get it fixed, or I'm going to go back to that cover designer and tell them that they have to have this done by this date because I have a hard launch date and it's set in stone and I cannot miss it, and this has to be done. So you do whatever it takes. That's your action to meet your deadline and to get your book launched and published at the time that you've been promoting it. Okay. Same thing with the audiobook. If your file was corrupted and you were almost done with your audiobook, you almost had your whole book recorded, that's frustrating. But then the story that you tell yourself is, I'm not going to give up. I'm going to get this done. So what does that do? Again, it creates the feeling of determination. It creates the feeling of purpose, and you're going to get through this. So what's your action step? I'm going to record it, and it's going to be even better than it was before. And it's going to be great. And this time, I'm going to back up my files. So if this ever, if something happens, I know that I have a backup. Okay. So there you go. You have two places that you can change in the cycle of outcomes, in the quadricycle, that can give you positive results instead of negative results. And that does not create a vicious cycle of negativity. Okay, you are changing your story and you are changing your action step. When you change those two places, you have now created a positive outcome instead of a negative outcome. So you, as an author, you are an author brand. This is what you do. You're a professional. You have a published book out there, or maybe you're about to publish your book. Don't let any of these barriers stop you. When you're writing your book and you have writer's block, again, we talked about this at the beginning of the show, figure out what the cause is that's stopping you. Is it worry? Is it imposter syndrome? Is it feeling pressured? Is it a deadline? Is it something that's related to the book writing process? Is it something that's related to the audiobook recording process? Or is it something that has nothing to do with it that's creating a mental barrier because it is pulling your focus away from your goal as a writer and as a professional? And that, again, you are a creative, you are an entrepreneur, you are the CEO of you. That's right, that catchphrase was going to come, and here it is. You are the CEO of you. So the decisions that you make for yourself as an author are important. And remember, the buck stops here with you, okay? You're in charge of you. You're the CEO of you. So the decisions that you make have to be moving your business forward. And I know things happen, and maybe a decision that you make doesn't work out, or maybe having a barrier that's stopping you when you're trying to write or trying to record stops you. But again, you need to take action. Your action step has to be a way to figure out what you need to do to get yourself back on track. Maybe it's doing some mindset, mental exercises. Again, mindset is so important in getting you to be able to do what you need to do to reach the goals that you are striving for as an author. You are an author brand. What you present to the world in your book, is something that you are proud of and that you believe in, and that this is your business. Okay, your ebook, your paperback, your hardcover, your audiobook, this is all your product, and you want to have the best quality product out there, and you want the world to know about it, and you're going to run your business just like any entrepreneur, and do the things that you need to do to create interest and to get more clients. Maybe you're a coach and you've written a book, and you're promoting your coaching program, or maybe you do speaking engagements, which I have authors who have used their audiobook to get speaking engagements, because they have a sample where event planners can actually hear you narrating your own book, which is another great reason why you as a nonfiction author need to narrate your own book, because it's your story, right? You're the only one who can tell your story, and it is a great way to give event planners a sample of what you sound like and how you present yourself, so they're like, yeah, this person's great. They would be an awesome keynote speaker for this event that we're planning. Okay, so again, the quadricycle can be a positive thing. Okay, it is a positive thing. 4 parts: the event, the story, the feeling, and the action. If it's negative, change your story, change your action, turn it to a positive, and don't create a vicious cycle. All right. We're going to take one more quick break. This is the Your Book, Your Voice audio, I almost said audiobook coaching program. I say that a lot. Your Book, Your Voice podcast. Here we are. Oh, my Lord. Okay. I'm Robert A. Lane with Robert Lane Coaching. We are streaming live on the Bold Brave TV network. We're going to take one more break, and I'm going to just summarize our topic today and then give you some details about the Your Book, Your Voice audiobook coaching program. All right, so don't go away. We will be right back.
Author, radio show host, and coach John M. Hawkins reveals strategies to help gain perspective, build confidence, find clarity, achieve goals. John M. Hawkins' new book, Coached to Greatness: Unlock Your Full Potential with Limitless Growth, published by iUniverse. Hawkins reveals strategies to help readers accomplish more. He believes the book can coach them to greatness. Hawkins says that the best athletes get to the top of their sport with the help of coaches, mentors, and others. He shares guidance that helps readers reflect on what motivates them, rediscover and assess their core values, philosophies, and competencies, find settings that allow them to be the most productive, and track their progress towards accomplishing goals. Listen to John Hawkins' My Strategy, Saturdays, 1 p.m. Eastern on the BBN Global Network and TuneIn Radio. What if there were a super tiny device that could diagnose the brain and is smaller than a single human hair? What if you could see inside the brain to help an epilepsy patient during surgery, or to help the fight against Parkinson's disease? Dr. Patricia Broderick is proud to announce the Broderick Probe, a biomedical and electronic breakthrough. Imagine a probe to help with the understanding and potential cure of brain-related diseases. To learn more, listen live to the Easy Sense radio show with host Dr. Broderick, Wednesdays, 7 p.m. Eastern on the Bold Brave Media Network and TuneIn Radio. And to help support the Broderick Foundation, please go to EasySense.com and learn how, with your help, we can fight these horrific brain disorders. That's EasySense.com to learn more and help support the Broderick Foundation.
And welcome back to the Your Book, Your Voice podcast. I'm Robert A. Lane with Robert Lane Coaching. Thank you so much for tuning in. We are streaming live on the Bold Brave TV network. By the way, I've been talking about the quadricycle, okay? I write about it in my book, a matter of fact. So you can check out my book, which is called Lights, Action, You. Basically, this book talks about my experiences of working in the entertainment business for 30 plus years, and I've pulled some of the great stories and experiences from that time. And with each story, I do tie in some practical tools and techniques about navigating through the work environment, and it's career coaching, life coaching, that kind of thing, about what the book is about. And there is a chapter that is called, "Is That a Quadricycle?" And it is talking about exactly what I'm sharing with you on the podcast today. So you can always pick up this book on Amazon. Got the ebook, of course, the paperback right here, and yes, the audiobook, because hey, I'm an audiobook coach and producer. Of course, I have to make an audiobook out of it. All right, and speaking of audiobooks, let me just tell you a little bit about the Your Book, Your Voice audiobook coaching program. Okay, this is a 6-week program that I designed to help you as a nonfiction author. You have this great published book that's out there in the world. You need to turn it into an audiobook that you narrate in your own voice. You have the voice to do it. Your voice is already in your written word. What you're doing is just bringing it to life so people can hear you. Tell your story, all right? Tell it the way that you intend it to be heard, okay? Not another narrator, not AI, but you. You as the author have what it takes to narrate a great audiobook. You absolutely do. You just have to believe it. You have to believe in yourself. You need to believe in your voice because you have what it takes. So what I do in the Your Book, Your Voice audiobook coaching program is it is a do-it-with-you program. I'm there with you every step of the way as your coach, helping you and as your accountability partner and your safety net and everything that you need to do a great audiobook narration. So it's basically, it's broken down into 3 basic sections. The first is setup and preparation. Setup and preparation is helping you set up your own recording space, so you're not relying on having to find a recording studio, hire an engineer, working on their schedule, which again causes more stress and overwhelm and pressure on doing a great audiobook narration when you have that in the back of your mind. So I send you the equipment, professional microphone, headsets. We go over the recording program that you use, show you how to set it up step by step. The equipment is yours to keep. And I don't mean like cheapy, USB stuff, a cheap mic. I'm talking like high quality, really good stuff. The microphone that I send you, by the way, is one that many podcasters use. Hundreds of podcasters use the mic that I send you. So it's top quality stuff and it's yours to keep. Okay, that's part of the program. I help you set up your publishing account so that you get published on Audible, Amazon, and Apple Books. Those 3 platforms, distribution platforms, you have to be on. So that's the first part of the program. The second part is diving into the essentials of what it takes to do a great audiobook narration. And we go over the technical aspects, mic placement, body posture, hydration, breathing, all those things, all those technical factors, levels, being consistent are really important. But what's even more important are the intangibles. Are you bringing your energy? Are you bringing your purpose? Are you tapped into the core reason of why you wrote your book? Because you're bringing that through in your audiobook narration, your uniqueness, your pacing, what makes you you. And that's your authenticity, all right? Bringing your unique style that you have in your written word, you're bringing it to life in your voice. You have this great voice, and this head is an awesome resonator, okay? Love it, embrace it, appreciate it, because your voice is awesome and you have what it takes to do a great narration. So when you record your audiobook, you do it in sections. Every chapter, every section of your book is a separate audio file. And as you record, and of course, as your coach, I'm teaching you through the process, you will send the files to me. And what I do on the back end, of course, is edit your files. All the post-production editing is included. So cleaning your files so they sound great, making sure they meet the exact specifications for publication into Audible, Amazon, and Apple Books. And then I do all the uploading for you. So you don't have to worry about that step. I take your audio files, get them uploaded into Audible, Amazon, and Apple Books, and you are 100% guaranteed to be published. By the end of the 6-week program, you've recorded your audiobook and your files are uploaded, and within 10 days, your audiobook is live. It's that simple. All right. And I'm there with you every step of the way. So if there is any issue, I know about it, I can fix it and re-upload your files. This is all happens behind the scenes so that you don't have to worry about it, because the goal of the Your Book, Your Voice audiobook coaching program is to make sure that you're just focused on doing a great narration. That's all I want you to do. And I'm there with you again every step of the way. And all you need to do is schedule a call with me to start the process so we can talk about your book, and we can also give you more details and get you enrolled into the program. All right. So we're going to put up a quick graphic, which is the audiobook onboarding call that you would do. This is my calendar link. Book your call. It's a free audiobook consultation. Book your call. Let's talk about your book. Let's get you enrolled in the program, because you know what? The audiobook world is growing and expanding and has been for the last several years. You need to tap into that market if you're not in it. Okay. So that link is bit.ly/audiobook onboarding. Okay. Book your call today. You will talk to me directly. All right. Again, you can always go to robertlanecoaching.com for more information about the program and to book your call as well. Okay. And again, as a free gift for you just being part of the podcast and enjoying the podcast, please grab your free audiobook narration guide, which goes over some tools and techniques on how to do a great audiobook narration. And again, the link is bit.ly/narration reference guide, and you can grab it on the website as well. All right. So again, use the Quadricycle to your advantage. If you want to find out more about it, you can pick up my book, Lights Action You, on Amazon, which talks about it, which I think you'll enjoy the book anyway. There's some pretty cool stories in there about the entertainment world. But again, 4 parts of the Quadricycle, which is the event, the story you tell yourself in relation to that event, the feelings it creates from that story, and the action step that you take. And remember, if it's negative, change the negative to a positive, which is changing the story or the action. All right. All right, my friends, we are almost out of time. One assignment that I give to you, which I do on every broadcast, is this. Go out there. Be kind. Smile at a stranger. Say hello. Give them a compliment. It takes 5 or 10 seconds out of your time, but that little gesture of kindness can make the world in somebody's life, because you don't know what they're going through. And just by smiling and saying hello, that can really make their day. So with that, go out there, be good humans, and enjoy your week. All right. This is the Your Book, Your Voice podcast. I'm Robert A. Lane with Robert Lane Coaching. You can go to robertlanecoaching.com for more information about what I do as an audiobook coach and producer, and find out more information about the Your Book, Your Voice audiobook coaching program. All right. All right, my friends, have a great week. We'll be talking to you next week. We're streaming live on the Bold Brave TV network. Glad to be here and glad you're here as well. Be good humans. We'll talk to you next week. Take care.
This has been Your Book, Your Voice with host Robert A. Lane. Tune in each week for another powerful and informative episode of Your Book, Your Voice, Thursdays, 8 p.m. Eastern on the Bold Brave TV network.